Alright, so BB, True Crime. I am Becky, and that is Beth.
Hello.
And we are on episode 10.
We made it.
The Big X.
We're at double digits now.
We are at the big 10.
Yeah.
We've made it. We've already had some funny outtakes, and we haven't even started the episode yet, so it's going well.
We thought we'd maybe save that for you, but then we were like, you know what?
There's enough outtakes in the actual episode, to be fair.
You suffer enough, so
You do.
It's fine.
And I'm looking forward to it, because there's a glint in Beth's eye right now.
There's always.
It is currently 2 a.m. I have work in 12 hours, and I have yet to go to sleep, and we've just ordered donuts, so that's how today is going, lads.
The spicy sound.
Midday naps have struck again, I think.
Nothing wrong with that.
6 hour ones, maybe, is a little bit of a...
Yeah, okay, alright. When you need to sleep, you need to sleep.
That's fair, yeah, I'll give you that.
Right, so, episode 10, we thought we'd take an episode break in giving you, the standard stuff we do, the standard cases. So, figured every 10 episodes we'd hit out a special episode.
Nah, I like this idea.
So, spices things up a bit for you and for us.
And for my poor brain.
Yeah. I'm not going to say these are not also as traumatic as our usual.
They're short traumatic, as opposed to an hour and a half long traumatic.
So, this episode, we are doing 3 cases. So 3 young boys, teenagers, who have gone missing and then are found, unfortunately unalive, in very strange places. Questionable places they've been found.
Questionable places.
Deceased.
You see, the problem is I have been sat next to her while she's been researching this, and I have glimpsed some truly questionable things. So...
And, she asked me some questions, and
she would not tell me.
I thought we'd save it for the episode.
She was she was like a centimetre away from telling me how a yoga mat was involved, but she would not say anything.
That's the second case. So, I thought we'd do this because, it gives us quite, a lot of leeway to, do some similar episodes like this.
I like it. Plus, we've got lots of little cases that, have come up that we need to cover.
Exactly. These cases that we're doing today are missing person sort of cases resolved because, of their weird location.
That was my bad.
She just threw the phone.
I did just throw the phone around. I'm on donut alert.
Where are you going?
I have my phone.
Okay, sorry for that intermittent break.
Let's get my phone in case the donut people call.
You can blame Becky.
Everybody does, it's fine.
She threw the phone and then just left.
I was like, fuck this shit, I'm out of here.
That was great. So, honestly, I will get a sentence out, I promise. So these are 3 cases of the vanishings of 3 young boys who didn't ever get to reach adulthood. And were found in very weird locations that, you're thinking, is it actually accidental death or is it something more suspicious? And these are 3 cases in that sort of category that really have stayed with me.
Where people have kind of gone accidental question mark with the little emoji face.
I've seen and read a lot of these kind of cases where they're found in weird locations. But these are the top 3 for me that have stuck with me personally. And sometimes I will think about these cases and be like, oh god, that still creeps me the fuck out.
Well, if it creeps you out, then we're all fucked.
Yeah, exactly. So, we're going to start
Hit me with number 1.
So, our first one...
I'm prepared.
...is a 14-year-old boy.
Oh, it's frightening there with the fruitiness.
Yep. Called Harley Dilly. So,
Harley Dilly!
Becky, this young boy is deceased. Stop laughing. Oh, how the fuck did we get on Spotify, honestly? I question it every day.
I question my life every day, so this is the least worrying thing. Right, tell me about this poor young Mr. Dilly.
Call him Harley.
Harley.
Right. Can't even look at her because like she got a stupid ass grin on her face. Right. So 14-year-old boy Harley was last seen on the morning of the 20th of December. So boy didn't even get to celebrate Christmas, man.
So close as well.
I know.
That's depression.
He was supposed to go to school that day.
Ugh.
Never turned up.
Ah, fantastic.
Which,
early morning death.
Yeah, it was quite unusual for him. His dad, Marcus, told the police that his son was upset that morning because his phone had broken. And he was told he needed to make the money to get a new one.
Ah.
So, bit fruity there at the family home.
We've all been there, though. You know, when you break something and your parents are like, no, you're going to have to replace that because you broke it and it's not a necessity.
I mean, I guess, but like...
It's still a little bit sucky.
Yeah, I mean, it's 14. It's nearly Christmas. Like, give the kid a break. Come on. However, the dad, Marcus, also told police that he had no reason to believe his son was in any danger. And also that his son was not suicidal. Really fucking random. He said he did not get concerned when his son didn't come home the following morning. So the dad is already a little bit sus.
The next morning. And no word, and his dad is not bothered by this.
No. Yeah.
That's suspicious.
It is a little bit, yeah.
That's a little fruity.
Also...
Is there a mother in the picture?
There is.
Okay.
But the dad is the main sus one. The dad did not file a missing person report when his son had actually disappeared other times. The dad had just never bothered to file one. Including the time where fatefully, unfortunately,
he died.
He did die, yeah. So basically, yeah, it is a bit weird. It's very weird.
This character is sus. You know, like the TV shows where they always present this like really suspicious character.
Yeah, where it's all like, oh, the husband like definitely killed the wife. Yeah, the husband's very like. I would like to comment that in all three of these cases, nothing justice-wise ever happens.
Oh, okay. So they all just died. And that was it.
Yeah, there's no aftermath really.
Okay.
Nothing to do with the law.
I love this.
So
this is great.
No one is arrested. No one
Excellent.
is suspected. Nothing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome. Dead boys. Nothing happens. We love it.
Literally. Yeah. So Harley was also known to have ADHD.
Hey! Shout out to the neurodivergent crew.
And he was also autistic. According to his father. Don't know if I honestly trust the word that the father
Unreliable
says.
witness.
Yeah, unreliable source. But he also did say that his son was really very intelligent. So
people with autism and ADHD very often are.
Yeah. So the morning of disappearance.
Okay.
Harley had actually told his mother on the 20th that he wasn't actually feeling very well and he didn't want to go to school.
Okay.
She made him go. Actually, in her exact words, it was, get your ass to school.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, been
We've
there.
all heard
We've
that,
all
yeah.
been there.
But yeah, he was made to go. He didn't want to go, he was made to go. There was actually surveillance footage of, not his last moments, but the last time he was seen alive. Yeah, on the way to school. And it was, the last known sighting. And that was when he crossed the street in front of his house that morning. After that, there was no video footage of him again.
So he was pretty close to the house.
Yeah, and
with the last known footage.
Yeah, and the place he died was also very close to his house. It was literally like round the corner. But no one knew that for like weeks. Yeah.
We're getting spicy.
Yeah. So obviously, like we've said already, his phone was broken at the time, so there would be no way for him to contact anyone. The temperature, obviously it being December, was really, really cold. 18 degrees.
Woohoo!
And he was only wearing a thin sweatshirt underneath his coat. When police later talked to the father, to be like, would he seek shelter from the cold if he was like not going to school? The dad told them that he would, because his son is a baby when it came to the cold weather.
Wow, that's some empathy right
Yeah,
there.
you're finding out, like, or at least suspecting your kid might be dead, and you're like, oh, he's a baby. Like, a little bit insulting.
Joking is not really, like, I know I was having a giggling attack at the beginning of this episode, but,
No.
like,
And the thing is,
that's an actual police investigation. You don't
Yeah.
joke your way through that.
And I don't think he was joking either when he
No.
said that. It comes across like quite
Cold.
insulting. Yeah,
Yeah.
literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
Oh, a good pun there.
So, he disappeared for about a month.
What?
Yeah.
A month?
Yeah.
This kid was gone?
Yeah.
And no one was like, suspicious.
Yeah, it was about 3 weeks to a month that he was vanished.
So we were solidly in, like, late January at this point.
Yeah.
Wow.
Before his disappearance, the police had also been called to the home before, regarding reports of a family issue. Officers that responded to the home actually had to calm Harley down, but they wouldn't give any other information about the incident. So there's already some trouble going on in the home.
Calm Harley down?
Yeah, I'm assuming he was, like, upset. I'm going to assume, and this is just me making assumptions, the parents were arguing or having a fight or some shit. Bad stuff you don't
It doesn't
want.
sound like
A
the
good
parents were, like, particularly...
They weren't really, like, looking out for him.
No.
They're a bit, like, in their own world with each other, so...
They're kind of very... It's
a bit distant.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, all of the reports are like, the father said this, and the mother said this.
Yeah, and, like...
And there's no kind of, the parents said this.
Yeah, and there isn't really much on actually what the mother ever says. It's always usually the father who does the talking, and he's, like, the most sus one of them all. So,
This poor kid seems like he had a rough start in life.
Yeah. So, yeah,
and a rough end, evidently.
Yeah, he did have a very rough end, and it's quite upsetting.
Here we go.
Yeah, like I said, yeah, so obviously there was CCTV found of him.
Okay.
Of the last time he was seen, and that was at 6 in the morning. Like I said, he didn't...
Far too early to be awake.
I know.
Especially in December.
And like I said, he never made it to school. The coroner actually said that it was very likely that Harley died the same day he disappeared. Which, when you find out how he died, understandable, believable. I'm
intrigued as to how he died now.
I would like to say Harley's death out of the three
is the one that bothers you the most.
It's not the one that bothers me the most. That probably would be the second case. Just because I feel the second case is more so not as accidental. And there may have been like a cover-up. Harley's death, I feel like, was accidental.
Okay.
And I think it just like sticks with you more because it's a really bad way for a kid to go.
This is gonna be a fun episode.
The third one, I'd also say probably was accidental.
Okay.
But yeah, he was a bit older, so I think Harley's one sort of like
sticks out a bit more.
Yeah. I think, proper measures have been taken in all of these cases.
Mm-hmm.
These deaths could be easily preventable. So.
Well, we're about to find out, aren't we?
We are.
Tell me.
So, Harley.
Yes.
Bless his soul. Sounded like a good kid.
Yeah.
14-year-old. His body was found on the 13th of January.
Oh, shit.
In the chimney of a house across the street from his home. In a chimney.
In the chimney?
In the chimney. And they'd been searching for him all over the town for about 3-4 weeks, and he was across the road.
Literally, probably like 100 meters away from his house in a chimney.
Yeah.
How the fuck did he get up there?
So basically, the house was abandoned.
Okay.
And basically, information basically just says that they don't know for sure why he tried to get into the house, or why he didn't go back home the next day. But it is known that he'd been in the house before. you know, like when he'd like left home.
When he'd run away from his argumentative,
basically.
difficult parents
Yeah,
to get away
and you know,
from that.
somewhere close by as well.
It's like going to a treehouse.
Yeah.
Except the treehouse is an abandoned house across the road.
Yeah. Like the front door was always locked as well.
Oh.
And the back door, so he would have to climb to get in.
Yeah.
But he'd done it before, so they didn't really understand why he chose to do it differently that day, if that makes sense.
Yeah. If he's managed to climb in before, why did he go through the chimney?
Yeah. Investigators believe that Harley had climbed an antenna in the vacant house and went down the chimney. The only way to explain this is if I give like a... This is gonna be weird, because you guys can't see it, so... Right, the only
We'll
way...
do our best.
Right, so I'm gonna give you like a physical sort of thing of how his death went.
Okay.
So, he's on top of this big-ass house.
Okay.
He's on the roof.
Okay.
The chimney's there. It's not a very big chimney, but he's only a 14-year-old boy.
Okay.
He's not very big himself.
No.
He's like, I can fit down it.
Okay.
So, he goes feet first. Not great.
No.
So he gets a good, halfway. But it's getting thinner and thinner.
Yeah, they taper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As it goes down.
Yeah.
So, he's had to, squeeze in more. So his arms are like above his head, stretched up.
Oh, dear.
Now, if I move my hands like this, that's about as much room as he got in that chimney.
Yeah, you can't
do anything.
Get out of that.
So, what he did manage to do was take a few bits of his clothes off, somehow, when he was getting a bit more struggled with space.
Yeah.
And he managed to, stuff them out of, I won't say it was a vent. It was, on the upstairs level, there was, a hole.
Yeah.
And he managed to stuff them through.
Okay.
The pieces of his clothes that he could get off anyway.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he made it down a little bit more.
Probably about halfway down.
He was a bit further, about
further.
3/4 of the way down. Still in this uptight position, he still couldn't move. And then it got to the point
Stretched out like a
where
G-string.
yeah, it got to the point where he couldn't move.
But he couldn't get out either.
Yeah, and then the panic would set in.
Yep. Hyperventilation.
Yeah, and
Ribs.
the more he breathed, the more he sunk down.
Yep.
And
Which
then
meant
when
the
he
more he
breathed
panicked,
again,
he sunk down even more.
he won't be able to get the breath back out
Yeah.
because his ribs had gone even further,
Mm-hmm.
and he was slowly being crushed to death.
He was pressure stoned.
And yeah, he
With the witches, they used to put planks and put stones.
yeah, pretty much.
And then they'd used to shatter your ribcage.
Obviously, he probably would have shouted for help, but
No one was there.
no one would have heard him. It was
Nope.
abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
It was early in the morning,
Yep.
so
I mean, if it was the middle of the day, no one would have heard him. It was
No.
in the fucking chimney.
So basically when officers finally went into this abandoned house, because they basically searched everywhere else and they couldn't find him.
Yeah.
They'd been on the second floor, and outside that weird hole thing they'd found some of his clothes.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, that's weird, why is that there?
Yeah. And
They
they
go
checked the chimney.
downstairs and they're looking round and they're like, okay, where is that smell coming from?
Oh, not the smell in the chimney.
And all that you would have to do is put your head in the fireplace, look up, and you can see his feet.
Yeah. He was nearly there.
That's a bad way to go.
That's a bad way to go.
That's a really bad way to go. And for a kid
Yeah.
as well, when you only live across the road from your family as well. That's horrifying. I can't imagine that shit.
That's a nasty way to go.
Yeah.
For anybody, let alone a 14-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And it's so snowball as well. It would have progressed slower and slower.
Yeah,
it would have gotten worse and worse and worse and worse
and more
worse.
painful.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's horrific.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So he officially died of compressive asphyxia, obviously.
Yeah.
Which for people that don't know, is what occurs when breathing is prevented by an external pressure, which would be A, obviously being stuck within the walls of the chimney, and then B, the more he breathed in,
the less he could breathe out.
Yeah, because he would then sink deeper and deeper into the chimney. So he'd be more and more stuck. Yeah, so like I said, they found his jacket on the second floor and his glasses next to the brick chimney. Which was between the second and third floor.
Jesus.
His personal items, like I said, were pushed through the hole on the second floor. However, he was blocked between the first and second floor. And the chimney was only about 4 feet.
That's small.
Oh, sorry, no. He was only 4 feet.
He was only 4 feet tall?
And weighed 100 pounds.
That's a small kid.
Yeah. And he still died. He just wasn't small enough.
I reckon anything would have difficulty getting down a full-size chimney.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as Santa makes it look.
It looks easy when you're looking down, but I think when you realise that it gets smaller and smaller,
a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
They're like, it's very deceptive, the way that chimneys are built.
Yeah.
The taper. Oh, she's got pictures.
I do. I have.
Let me get my glasses. I need my glasses for this. Oh, it's a small child.
Yeah, like I said, he was only 14. Small boy.
Oh.
That was part of the CCTV, which I've seen. Obviously, it doesn't show a lot, but
It shows him walking across the street.
Yeah, but knowing that that's the last time he was ever seen alive,
Yeah.
and the gruesome way that he died. This was when they had to break open the chimney.
Oh my god, that's tiny.
Yeah. So he got stuck up here, not down there. He didn't make it out to the wider bit. And that is fucking small.
That's tiny.
Yeah.
That's like...
I know,
that's like the length of your forearm.
Yeah. So,
if not smaller. The length of your forearm minus the hand.
So, yeah, that was... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what about that case, but yeah, that's always stuck with me.
That's gonna stick with me.
Yeah, it's just...
Because you have like this image of this kid in your head, and then you look at the picture and he's like 5 years younger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he did look very young for his age.
You're like 14-year-old boy. Okay, and then you look at it, it's like he looks like he's 11.
Yeah.
He looks like he's
literally.
just entered secondary school. Like...
And then knowing the horrific way that he died,
because that's horrific. That is.
Yeah, I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
Just,
I mean,
like, the panic and fear
the
he
terror
must have
he must
felt.
have felt. Yeah.
Especially when he realised that...
There was nothing. And
yeah,
nobody was coming to save him.
No one, yeah. Yeah, that's fucking
That was
awful.
a strong one to start on.
Yeah. The second one... The second one is by far, to me, again, another one that I saw was stuck with me. I've also seen the CCTV footage that's in this.
Okay.
And I refuse to believe that this was accidental.
Okay.
At all.
Okay.
But nothing, no matter how hard the family have tried, nothing has ever come of it.
Okay.
And so it looks like...
It's gonna stay accidental.
Yeah. And to me, I'm sorry, but that's bullshit.
Okay.
So...
Alright, let's have a look.
This is the case of Kendrick Johnson.
Kendrick Johnson.
Mhm.
Okay.
So,
How old is this young man?
God, now you're asking me to do maths. 95. Okay, he was 18.
18. Okay.
Right.
18-year-old.
And a sport guy, so a bit bigger.
Okay.
18.
18-year-old jock. Got it.
Yeah, not like crazy muscular, but like he did
Sporty.
sports.
Got
Yeah. So this happened 2013.
It's pretty recent, actually.
Pretty recent, yeah. So, and this starts, this just goes ballsy into it, okay? You don't even get like a lead up like we did the last case.
Okay.
We're
just straight into the nitty gritty.
11th of January,
Yeah.
2013.
Yeah.
The body of Kendrick Johnson.
Oh, we're straight in there with the body.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was discovered inside a vertical, so that's not a laid down, that's stood up, rolled up mat in the gymnasium of his high school in Georgia, where he was a student. So I'd also like to say, like I said, there is CCTV footage of this.
Okay.
All it shows is, so it shows the CCTV inside the gymnasium.
Mm-hmm.
All it shows is him sort of walking towards the exit,
Okay.
and then him walking back towards where the mats would be,
Okay.
and then a few minutes later, like a group of students, like two or three students, walk the same direction. He
Okay.
never walks back out,
Okay.
but they do.
Okay.
So that's that.
So at the very least, they're in the same area where his body was found, if not directly involved.
Yes.
But obviously, the thing is, we don't know that.
Again, like I said, I
Okay.
refuse that it's an accident. I don't believe it for a second.
Okay.
So, like I said, he was discovered inside the vertical rolled up wrestling mat.
Okay. So wrestling mats are about 6-7 foot wide, so they would like hide his whole body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're long
Because they're
ones.
quite big. They're like the big, thick blue rubber mats you used to have on the floor in the gym.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. So the body was discovered by fellow students, actually, who had actually climbed on top of a cluster of mats.
Oh, I mean, we've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all done that. Nasty surprise for them, though.
The mats actually stood 6 feet tall,
Mm-hmm.
so they were big mats.
They were big mats, yeah.
Very thick as well. 3 feet wide.
Very
So
heavy mats, yeah.
Yeah, heavy, big.
Big, thick, heavy mats.
They found him inside a rolled up one of those.
Oh, convenient.
Yeah,
I wonder if he rolled himself in there.
I know. Yeah. So an autopsy stated that he'd apparently died from positional asphyxia. And that the case was ruled accidental by the investigators. Bullshit.
She
sorry,
don't
but it
like
is.
this.
So the story
She's
goes.
getting aggy. She's really. I can see it.
Well, I'm sorry, but it is bullshit, right? Because it's so stupid. And the thing is, loads of people think it's a cover up, and like I understand why. I don't know if I'd go so far to say that it's like a cover up, but it's so suspicious.
Doesn't sound like there's an efficient investigation that
I
occurred.
don't believe for a second
Okay.
that he died naturally
Okay.
or
Let's find
accidentally.
out then.
So
Tell me, O Sensei.
the story is, the theory is
Okay.
that apparently he'd fallen into the mat. Because that's a thing people do all the time. Into small holes in rolled up mats in the gyms at school. Oh yeah, like... No, I'm sorry, I know no one that's ever done that in my life. I'm sorry, I refuse.
Hang on. He fell into...
Yeah, it's 6 foot, and they're like, oh yeah, he fell into it all the way down to the bottom.
So, his 6 foot self...
Well, we don't know how tall he was, but...
Slid his way down the middle of that mat.
Apparently.
Like a hot dog into a hot dog bun.
Yeah, apparently. He just slid in there.
With his big old broad shoulders. Slid on...
Yeah. Apparently...
From what platform
I don't know.
could he gain the ability to slip on into the centre of a 6 foot
They're
tall
like,
mat?
okay, maybe like he climbed up on the other mats and then looked in, because apparently his shoe was at the bottom of the inside. Right, first of all, I'm sorry, let's pick this apart. If, for say, you had dropped your shoe in a rolled up one of these huge mats, why don't, and this is crazy, you just flip it and then grab the shoe?
Or you just knock the mat over, get your shoe, roll
Literally.
it and put it back again.
It's so stupid.
And why is his shoe in there anyway?
Exactly.
Why is
I
he
have
leaving?
so many questions.
Why is he leaving school,
Uh,
coming back in, just so his ass can climb on 6 foot wrestling mats? He's a sporty boy. He spends enough time as it is on wrestling mats. He doesn't need to go climbing in them in his spare time.
apparently he did. And yeah,
Jesus.
apparently he died from being unable to get out of it once he got in.
A mat.
Yeah, a mat.
So
How it didn't like fall
It's incredible.
when he was incredible.
Incredible. It's like he instantly died from positional asphyxia.
Yeah, it's so stupid. I'm sorry, but it's such shit. So, 3 students at the high school told
Convenient.
investigators. Yeah,
Considering it's a group of 3 students who are seen on the CCTV.
true, but we don't know if these are the same ones.
How many groups of 3 students are walking in and finding dead bodies in the gym?
Well, yeah, true. They told investigators that it was common for some students to store their shoes behind or under the rolled up mats. And he was not wearing shoes when he was found. That literally means nothing to no one. Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, sometimes, yeah, we put them like near the mats or inside the mats. Yeah, but no one ever climbs in to get the mats. Like, to get the shoes out of the mat.
And I'm sorry, but if he's leaving to go home, why is he storing his shoes? What's he gonna walk home in?
What was he wearing beforehand if he wasn't wearing shoes?
What was he changing into?
Oh, right.
How many pairs of shoes did this kid own?
The questions. Never ending. We'll never fucking know. Right, so... the main guy that was leading the case, Lieutenant Jones, said...
Imbecile.
Oh, he's such a bullshit. We have never had credible information that indicated that this was anything other than an accident.
I appreciate him from refraining to say the words tragic accident.
Yeah, you didn't even say tragic, mate. His Johnson's family.
Okay.
Were not having it that it was accidental. They still aren't, and you know what? I completely agree with them. Yeah. Because it's ridiculous.
It's bullshit.
So they were unsatisfied with the results of the investigation. So they actually hired their own independent
investigator
autopsy to be done.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
What
did that say?
That was done on June the 15th. And actually
it said a lot.
Yeah, it did. And it found traces of blunt force trauma to the neck and the soft tissues near it and suggested that the death was non-accidental.
Oh. How convenient that this had been missed.
I'm so surprised. Like, wow. Johnson's family actually stated that, yeah, they believed he was murdered, and they still do to this day, and so do I.
Yeah? No, I'm with them on that one.
So, now we're on November, the same year. The surveillance tapes finally show up.
Nice.
So, from all this time, months and months have passed since his body was found.
No surveillance tapes.
No one had ever mentioned surveillance tapes or that CCTV was in the room of the gym.
Wait, what?
How strange. So, there was 35 cameras, right, that covered the gym area. So
35 cameras that covered the gym area?
I don't know how fucking big this gym was. But from 35 cameras, I'm gonna...
Well, I suppose they've got the gym, the hallways around it. Wow. A lot of American gyms have, like mezzanines over the top as well, and like the hallways leading up to them, and the changing rooms and the bathrooms, and the stands area. So I can see why there'd be 35 cameras. They do tend to be quite big in American schools.
So
they're not our bod basic bullshit.
Yeah. The tapes were actually released not to the family or to the police, but to media. CNN.
Yeah. I knew that was coming.
Yeah, following a court request. It's actually quite useful that they were finally released, though.
Yeah.
Because you actually can see that, like, he was... I'm not going to say being followed, but that there was other people there around the time. That he was
Tragically.
Yeah, in this mat. You know...
Tragically matted to death.
Yeah, you literally see that these are the people that saw him last.
Yeah.
Was anything ever done about that? No.
Of course not.
Yeah. So... a forensic analysis looked at these and found that 2 of the cameras were missing an hour and 5 minutes of footage. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
That's not suspicious at all.
Some of the lapses in coverage were resulting from the camera systems not being like synchronized with each other. Timestamps between some of the other cameras actually differed as much as 20 minutes of the same time period.
So like, it's almost like a specific individual was just erased in this entire journey.
Yeah.
Through his way to murder this young man.
Yeah.
His whole body was conveniently removed.
But you don't want to know what's even more convenient? The area where his body was found, the mat area, was not covered at that point by the CCTV.
Shocking.
Yeah, I know. How suspicious.
Who goes to that school? Because that's the kind of shit that happens when the child of someone influential does something
The
naughty.
donuts! We are literally outside collecting some donuts in a little episode break. We will be resuming shortly. Please bear with us as we just scran some delicious, bad for us donuts. Anyway, we're back. We have the donuts.
We
and
do.
We've just had an argument about teeth, so that's where we're at.
The donuts have landed, everybody. We had a little tricksy moment with the delivery driver getting lost again.
And I had to go with her because now that we're in the middle of recording and I'm covering these cases, she's now scared.
I didn't say scared. I was unnerved.
She's just thinking about where all the chimneys are located.
And I know that Beth has a very large yoga mat, so now I'm slightly worried. Anyway.
That becomes as big as this one.
Getting back to this ginormous.
Yeah. So, let's see. I'm just like, where are we at?
The missing video footage, I think, is where we got to.
Like I said, CCTV not covered where the mats were.
Suspicious.
Yeah. So, the attorneys for Kendrick's family, they were like, okay, the edited CCTV footage, very suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
I say cover up.
Steps were taken to limit the information given.
But because there, wasn't enough evidence to prove it was either a cover-up or, super suspicious, the law enforcement wouldn't do anything.
Of course they wouldn't.
They stuck to the accidental, and even though they had this separate autopsy that said it wasn't accidental, the police were not having it. Which just makes it sound a little bit more like a cover-up.
Because if they'd investigated and we were like, oh, we investigated, we haven't found anything beyond that substantiates the claim, then I would have been like,
yeah.
But the fact that they're just flat out refusing to even acknowledge the hint of a suggestion of a maybe of the fact that this kid might have not died accidentally, is suspicious.
Some things, there was an incident before he died, not too long beforehand. Kendrick had actually been repeatedly attacked and harassed by a white student. So race came into play strongly there.
Strongly, yeah.
Johnson was apparently attacked on a bus trip 14 months before he died by, that student, white one. Apparently it was about race.
This white one.
The Johnston's family, they filed for a $100 million lawsuit against 38 individuals, including people in the police and people at the school.
Yeah.
Including some of the students, alleging, that his death was actually a murder. And that there was a cover-up involved, but they
bungled the investigation, basically.
They didn't get it.
Yeah.
It was denied.
Yeah.
The lawsuit. And actually, his, they believe, and it's strongly believed that two of the people that were on the CCTV that followed him into the gym
were the two people.
Were actually two sons of FBI agents. Yeah.
What did I say? Whose kids go to that school?
Yeah. So, understandable why they think it's a bit dodgy.
There's a link there.
So,
there's a link
I have
there.
some pictures for you.
We're back to picture time.
Yeah. So, I'm not going to show you the CCTV. Like I said, I've pretty much described what happens. You don't see a lot.
Yeah.
But again, knowing that it was his final moments and something was about to go down, and I definitely don't believe it was accidental. Very suspicious. So this is the photo that you were looking at earlier. That is his feet.
Oh my god.
That you can see down at the bottom of this mat.
Oh my god. And
I'm
I'm
guessing
guessing
fucking tiny.
That is a close-up of his feet.
For some reason, his shoes were next to his feet.
But not on his feet.
No. And if he's gone in head first, they should be in his hands.
He'd go hands. He would not try to pick up his shoes with his feet.
Yeah, so that's a bit weird that they're with his feet. Yeah.
That's wow.
Then there's also as part of the CCTV, he was when he was coming back in the gym.
Yeah.
After initially walking out, he was running, and then a group of white individuals
followed him.
Yeah. And then he was never seen after he ran.
What is this image here of this man?
This is someone attempting to get inside of the thing. of the mat.
The mat that they claimed he got in, but he clearly can't get in.
No. So
because just for people who can't see this image, there is a clear 3 or 4 inches of shoulder on either side that is not fitting in this gap.
Yeah. So obviously you got the people that are like, yeah, it's accidental death, blah blah blah. That's the common
misconception
of this.
Yes.
But you take the CCTV that he was running. These white individuals from the school followed who he had been attacked by previously. Definitely, he was stuffed into it. 100%.
Absolutely not sure whether it was meant to lead to murder. I probably think it was another attack that got out of hand.
Maybe.
Because the amount of stuff that had to get covered up, or at least altered, is far too much for it to have been a planned event.
Yeah.
But definitely think there was at least a manslaughter charge there.
Either way, he could not have got inside that by himself.
He couldn't have.
Absolutely not.
Because...
And the way he would have had to have done it is so illogical.
Yeah.
No.
But to get into that hole, he would have had to, curl his body around.
Yeah. Climb up the mats just to even look inside of it.
Yeah.
When, if his shoes were in it, you'd just knock it over or, move it, wouldn't you?
You would have tipped it, gotten his shoes out, but why were his shoes in there in the first place if he was going home?
Right.
He's clearly wearing his shoes in the CCTV.
Literally.
It's not like he fucking forgot them. It's not like he was leaving the school in his socks.
I don't believe that's accidental at all.
Okay, so we've gone from accidental to clearly not fucking accidental.
Yeah, it's just one of those cases that bugs me because it's never gonna be
Nothing's ever gonna happen, but it's so clearly... obvious that something did happen.
Exactly, and the thing is, we have so many questions, and it leaves you with so many questions that you'll never have the answers to.
The thing is, okay, we're in 2022 now, it's only 10 years later.
Nearly.
The people who did this are now 27, 28 years old.
Yeah. And still
And nothing has happened to them.
No, and nothing will.
Nothing.
No, nothing will.
It's just, must be nice to have parents in the FBI.
Yeah, exactly. How
Imagine
convenient.
the things.
Typical white family.
The children of FBI agents get treated like this.
White children.
The white children.
Yes.
That's true.
Definitely race motivated.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah. So that was the second case.
That was fun.
Now we're going back to accidental.
Okay, cool.
And this one is just
sad.
So it's an older person, not by a lot, but he wasn't found for a long time. And it, like I said before, if proper precautions were taken, this wouldn't have happened.
It's a negligent case.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not just on the search, but even just workplace negligence.
Negligence.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but even if the workplace...
Give her a break, it's 3 a.m.
Yeah. Even if the workplace had done more to protect...
So it's workplace?
So it's workplace related.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if they'd have done more...
So gone from home to school to work. We've covered all the bases now.
That was accidental.
Very well done, though.
Thank you. But yeah, if they'd done more to actually
I liked your
protect...
pun.
Thank you. Unintentional. If they'd done more to, sort of protect the workplace and protect the staff, this would not have happened.
Okay.
And if it did, he would have been found a lot quicker.
Okay.
So...
This
is the case of Larry Eli Morello Moncada. So we're just going to call him Larry for short.
Larry, yes, that's a mouthful.
Yeah. So this happened in 2009.
Okay.
Considering we're in 2022, it still feels quite recent. And that was when he went missing. His body was actually found in 2019.
10 years later?
10 years later. Yeah. And 2019, however, was 2 years ago. No, it wasn't. 3 years ago.
3. We've moved on a year now.
I mean, we haven't finished with 2022 yet, so it's all, just
to be
over
fair,
2.
the entirety of COVID just feels like one really long 18-month period, so I think you're forgiven for getting years wrong
so
there.
it would have been about...
It would have been about COVID time, wouldn't it?
It was just before COVID hit, January 2019.
Jesus, it would have been right before COVID,
Yeah, that might have been the reason why. Who knows? But 10 years later.
I mean, hygiene in restaurants shot up early 2019 because of COVID measures and stuff like that.
This wasn't a restaurant or a food place. It was a supermarket.
How does one die in a supermarket and not go found for 10 years?
Well, let's just say next time you go to good old Morrison's, you're
No.
gonna be thinking, "Oh my god!"
No, not Morrison's.
It wasn't Morrison's. It's a random supermarket in Iowa, in America.
Oh, thank
But
God! I
next
thought
time
she
you-
was about to do
No,
my
no,
British
I wasn't-
supermarkets dirty.
No. American case again.
Oh, thank God!
next-
America.
I know, honestly, so many good cases though. But next time you go to any supermarket
You'll be
or any
thinking.
shop like this,
You'll be wondering.
you'll see a specific thing, and then you'll be like, "Oh my god, dead person," and you'll just be forever freaked out.
Trigger warning: if anybody has heebie-jeebies about going to supermarkets, maybe stop the podcast here.
And if you want another reason to have, or you want to create some reasons to not like going, you're welcome. I'm about to tell you.
Trigger warning has been issued. We will not be insulted if you leave now.
No.
We will
A
see
little
all
bit.
of you next episode. Be quiet.
Uh,
Respect. Consent. Okay. Hit us with the traumatizing shopping centre.
so, supermarket.
Supermarket.
So, 2009.
What, a big public place that should not have a dead body in it?
Yes, literally.
Okay.
It was 25.
25. You're my age!
Yes. Oh, this is even better. This is just all happening to you,
Can
Becky.
you just say
You-
that's
no,
even
the
better?
thing, you're going to Morrison's, see the thing, then you'll be like, I'm 25, I could die here right now and not be found for 10 years.
Think about that daily.
Well, you're gonna do it more now. So,
Oh, yeah.
25-year-old Larry went missing
Okay.
whilst working in a supermarket in Iowa.
You went missing on shift and no one thought this was sus.
Technically, it was kind of on shift. Right, yeah.
Okay,
So,
get on with it.
it then, so I am gonna, tell you a bit more about what happened before he went,
Okay.
during the period he was missing.
Okay.
But right now, I'm just gonna go straight into the death.
Okay, go for it.
We're spicing it up.
We're going
So-
straight into the murder again.
Like I said, he went missing for 10 years. That's a long time. I mean, not-
3,650 days.
That's sad. Yeah, poor family. So 10 years later, a badly decomposed body was found by workmen between a gap of about 18 inches between the 12 feet high coolers and a wall. So you know them coolers that you might get cold drinks out of, or where you might get your milk out of,
No.
yeah, or where you might get frozen food out of, right? So
the big industrial freezer shelf.
yeah, so he was trapped behind one of those and the wall, which was only about 18 inches.
And obviously because of the filtration and the airflow, any of the bad smell would have been
So
of his decomposing body.
that's when he was found. So obviously Larry had been trapped and died there, and supermarket shoppers complained for years of, in that area, a bad smell, which would actually be the smell of his body decomposing.
Imagine being decomposing for 10 years and no one does anything.
Yeah. It was discovered in January 2019 when workers were actually removing the shelves because it had actually shut down the supermarket.
The smell had shut down the supermarket.
No. The supermarket generally had shut down a while before.
Probably
So-
because they didn't take things like really bad smells
Yeah.
behind freezers seriously.
Or just hazards like this seriously. So it had shut down, and some people were,
Dismantling the store.
yeah, removing shelves. It was called the supermarket was called No Frills in Council Bluffs, just for your information.
Don't go to any no frills.
No, it appeared that the corpse had been there for several years, 10 to be exact. The store had closed in 2016, so that meant that, put it like this, he had been decomposing behind this freezer wall and the wall
Mm-hmm.
for about 7 years, right?
Yeah.
The freezers would have been on the entire time,
Yeah.
so it would have slowed
Slow
down.
decomp down.
Yeah, a
significantly.
little bit, but obviously enough for people to still notice.
Yeah.
Then it shut in 2016. The freezers were off.
Rapidly.
And he still went undercover undiscovered for 3 years because no one went inside the building. So can you imagine the smell? Christ.
Oh wow, I pity those workers. That's a therapy bill right there.
The body was so badly decomposed that he couldn't even be positively identified until July of that year. And it
6 months to identify his body.
Yeah. Because it was just decomposed that bad, and
dental records are required.
They couldn't even do it with that. They couldn't even do it with any of the bones. It had to be the clothes they did it by that were found.
They did it with
They had it had to be clothes.
Name badges have never been so important.
I don't think he was even wearing a name badge. Yeah.
How the hell did they identify him by his clothes?
Apparently it was what he was wearing when he was last seen. Yeah.
Wow.
So investigators said that they believed that Larry, I just low-key forgot his name then, I'm very sorry.
I'm so sorry, Larry.
They believed that Larry, who obviously worked at the store, had climbed up on top of the coolers in the late, obviously November 2009, and fell into the gap behind the freezers and the wall.
Oh man. Not another dying in a stuck place, Beth.
Yeah.
Really?
These are the ones that creep me out a lot.
You have genuinely got a very focused.
My fears are very specific.
They are,
like
being trapped in a small space and slowly but surely being crushed to death.
Oh yeah, like I'm very
claustrophobic.
Claustrophobic. Yeah, I didn't realize how badly I was claustrophobic until I started watching them, like caving videos where they go explore. No, absolutely.
That's probably a bad time to mention that I have actually been caving a few times.
Yeah, I remember you telling me, and it's just like, no one could pay me enough money. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say this. If it was, you could save Becky's life. If you go and squeeze your body into these things you probably can't squeeze back out of, and you're gonna do it? No. Sorry, Becky. Sorry. I'm so sorry. But
I just remember going caving.
Nope.
And we had all this protective gear on, and then they were like, yeah, so there's 2 sized slots. You can go standard, or you can go express. Standard was like 30 centimeters.
Still.
Express was 25.
Too small for me. Still too small.
My chunky ass decided to go through the 30 and not try to embarrass myself by slinking myself in a space that was not going to happen. So, it was still tight though. Like, it was like...
Yeah. Yeah, and
I didn't have titties back then though, so I was a lot safer.
But the thing is, it's at some point we will be covering another case. It's not a murder. It's more so is accidental. Not in this episode, but it's a death that occurred in a cave exploration place.
I remember you mentioning this.
Yeah, and this one has haunted me and still haunts me to this day. Called the Nutty Putty Caves.
Yes, I remember. We won't go into it.
No. But all I'm saying is that after the death and the fact that he couldn't get out, they sealed it up, and to this day...
His body's still there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
So we will cover that at some point.
Because at one point it went from rescue to recovery, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll leave that for another episode, because we've got enough people being crushed to death already.
So, yeah. So, Larry was reported missing the day after Thanksgiving in 2009.
Okay.
After he left his parents' house barefoot after an argument during a blizzard, and he was at the time suffering hallucinations. Sorry, I just yawned mid-word then.
That was incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, he was suffering hallucinations at the time. Apparently, it says something like he was seeing things that were telling him to eat sugar or something, and that if he did it, it would make his heart better. Some weird shit like that.
Was he high or was he...
No, he was just having hallucinations. He was on some new antidepressants at the time as well. Yeah, so he...
Medication induced.
Yeah, the police were told that he was acting irrationally.
Which might explain why he climbed over the top of a freezer.
Oh, no, apparently that was something that occurred often there. So apparently, if workers wanted to have like a sneaky break, they would climb on top of these coolers and no one would be able to see them or hear them up there. Yeah, and they could also put stuff up there for themselves as well. So, yeah.
You just casually...
The thing is, it's just like, I don't know, like, how it would have looked from up there if you could see like down, you know, in between that gap. I don't know if you could see down it, but if you were up there, first of all, if you smelt something, clearly you would like look to see where it's coming from, because it would have been strong if you were up there.
Unless people just avoided that spot because they don't want to go have a break in a stanky bit.
True, yeah, they could have moved the spot. But then, you know, also if someone was up there, again, I don't know how much light would have been down there, but you might have seen like the outline of something.
I mean, it's 12 foot.
Yes, it's like there's still a lot of a person though. This was a 25-year-old man. Yeah,
but there's no lighting back there.
Do you know that for certain in this shopping centre?
Supermarket? Oh, right,
like,
shit!
Do you know that for certain?
Well, clearly they didn't see none.
Well, I know, I'm well aware of that. But yeah, so he had left behind, when he left the house, having these hallucinations, he had left behind his keys and the car as well. Clearly, obviously, we know now that he went back to work for some reason, maybe because there was sugar there, I don't know.
Guy was hallucinating.
Yeah.
You know.
But he failed to return home and was never heard from again. So like I said, they had to identify him through clothing. And yeah, it was blue clothing found on the body that matched the description from the parents.
Jesus.
And yeah, so the police said on an autopsy found that there was no sign of trauma, no evidence of foul play, and that the case was closed as accidental.
Really fucking sad accidental.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, I probably agree it was accidental. But it's, again, a bad way to go.
And 10 years is so long.
Yeah, I know. When
especially
he was
considering
so
that
close.
shop was open for... That supermarket was open for 7 years after he died.
Yeah.
Like, imagine how many people go through a shopping...
And complain about the smell and nothing is done or, like, checked out.
Yeah, nothing.
People would have been opening the freezer that he was stuck behind and grabbing items, not knowing...
People daily would have been going to restock that freezer.
Not knowing that not even a feet apart they were with a decomposing body. Yeah. Like, shit. If they'd have just, covered up that fucking gap or just not climbed up
Seems
there.
like a pretty moronic thing to do. I'm sorry, but who climbs on top of a 12-foot
freezer? But if they'd have just made it so that they can't do that, he would have never have died down there.
Or, I don't know, disciplinary action if you're caught doing it.
Where's CCTV? That's one thing about that case that has never ever been mentioned. If the shop even had CCTV. Which it probably did.
Yeah.
And
why did nobody check the security?
I don't know, but...
I suppose if he wasn't on shift, if he was at home...
Yeah, but there probably would have been CCTV in the back. You
would imagine.
Went
through the front.
Apparently he went through the back. Because no one saw him enter. But yeah, that's just... Yeah.
Jesus.
So, there you have it.
Happy 10th episode anniversary.
Yep, she is now scared of 3 things. Supermarkets, just generally, any kind of yoga mat or wrestling mat, and chimneys. So...
To be fair, I wasn't too comfortable around chimneys in the first place.
Well, understandable. Now you're going to be checking the inside of any that you do see. Just in case.
Luckily for me...
Most places don't have chimneys anymore.
Chimneys are not something I encounter on even a bi-monthly basis. I don't really know anybody with a chimney that my godmother has a chimney.
Yeah, but now you're going to be like looking at the chimney and be like, okay, first I've got to make a choice here. Do I even want to look to see if anything's in the chimney?
I am never going to look up a chimney again. Ever.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere near a chimney.
She's going to be like extra careful when re-rolling up that mat because you never know, she might slip in it somehow and just die.
I'm just thinking about the ginormous freezer I have to deal with on a weekly basis.
There you go. You're going to work with new thoughts. There could be a body behind there. Please check
so much.
for the family.
I hate you so much.
Okay, great. Now she's happy. Meaning that she's not going to sleep tonight, probably.
I have work. I hate you so much.
You got work with the freezers. Hey. So, hope you enjoyed our 10th episode. Really happy with, with proper... I'm happy.
You're far too happy about this.
I am, yeah, because now those cases that haunt me now also haunt you. We can be traumatized together.
We made an alarming discovery that Beth watches murder documentaries for fun, and I watch Lonely Animal Park.
That surprises no one. Yeah, so come back next week. We'll have another disturbing case for you. I did know what the case will be. Give me a second. So, had to go look. So, the next case we're doing is a good UK popular favourite.
Oh, what a UK one?
Jamie Bulger.
Hey!
Yeah. But a
This
case
is what
everyone
I do
knows.
know.
Yes.
Because everybody knows it, but I had to study it for...
Oh, everyone had to study that at some point. Yeah.
Sometimes. In my juvenile crime module in my undergrad.
Yeah. And then episode 12 will be the Somerton Man, which is a unidentifiable man who was found sat up on a beach. And to this day, his identity, I can't even speak now, it's 3 a.m. His identity has never been found out. And the cause of his death, the whole thing around his death has never been found out. So
he doesn't have a cause of death. He doesn't have a name.
Yeah, pretty much. The whole thing is just big question mark. But very interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun.
So yeah, so tune in. We'll be hopping down on those. Hope you enjoyed the episode.
Less disturbing. At least I know where we're going with those. This one was traumatizing.
I'll have to surprise you with one of the episodes at some point.
Oh god.
It's fine. Alright, thank you
all
for listening.
Nightmares now. You have fun with that episode.
Well, yeah. I did. Now with the trauma's been shared.
I'm gonna go cry in a corner.
And eat the donuts.
And eat the donuts.
So yeah, that was episode 10. We're at double digits. I feel great about it. Thank you so much for
lots
the
of
support.
hard work on Beth's part.
Gotta do it. I'm dedicated to the cause, man.
Cheers. Dedicated to educating me in all this disturbia.
Yeah. Now you can bring up those at uni.
I'm gonna say actually, I do bring up a lot of your cases when we're discussing.
Our cases now.
But the thing is, you'll be happy to know, I have been given permission by my lecturer to do Eileen Warnos as my engendering essay.
Incredible. I'm so excited for you.
I am as well.
We'll have to put her at like episode 13 or some shit.
We will. We can discuss it and it can be lecture notes.
Yeah. So, this has been BB True Crime.
It has.
I'm Beth.
I am Becky. I'm disturbed, but mainly Becky.
And we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye, guys.
Bye.